Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about podcasting and why it should be an important part of what you do as a leader. Now you might be thinking, I've got no bandwidth to start a podcast, and today I'm talking about being on other people's podcasts like our own Senior Living FORESIGHT radio, not creating your own. So here's why podcasting is such a great idea. First off, consumption of podcasting is going up because it's a great way to consume content while driving, exercising, or doing other things. The second thing is that many of us actually learn best by listening more than reading, more than watching video. And the third thing is that in senior living, the problems we solve are actually fairly complex, which means that when we're doing podcasts, we have this long form where we actually have adequate time to tell the whole story about what we do. So think about it this way. If you write a blog post or you quoted in somebody else's blog or article, it's impossible to get the full context of what you are trying to communicate. In many cases, particularly if you're being quoted, you might talk for 15 or 20 minutes and they might pull out 30 seconds of what you said. And so it means that you're not really telling the whole story, and maybe it'll even be wrong. So I want to actually, if you're a senior living provider, here are some great guidelines for what to talk about. Talk about the problems that you actually solve. We are the antidote to loneliness that kills seniors. We take away the burden of cooking and cleaning. We monitor medication. We take away shopping. We're the boredom busters for older people. We relieve worry for family members. These are actually way more important than great meals, nice common areas, and cool outings. Then tell stories about how you are resolving worries for resident families and creating opportunities for residents to have the best possible last chapters of their lives. So in a minute, I'm going to talk about how after you're on a podcast, how you want to leverage that and get maximum benefit out of it. But first, I want to talk about what you do if you are a solution provider. It's more likely that you will be looking at being an advertiser on a podcast. This could be in the form of something really short, like this podcast is brought to you by, then your company name. Or it could be a little 2 or 3 minute storytelling segment, ad kind of thing. Or it could even be a whole 15, 20, 30 minute segment where you're really going deep into the problems you solve and how you do that. And we know that there's significant growth in companies that are advertising on podcasts because listeners actually pay more attention even to vendor solutions, and they really are looking for solutions. And so if you've got a great solution, it's probably the best way for you to actually tell your story. So recently we actually produced and broadcast a sponsored segment, and it generated several dozen inquiries, and it's really, really hard to beat that. You also need to be talking about the problems that you solve. So here are some ideas of how you might approach that. Do you need more leads? Are your staffing costs too high? We can trim your expenses. Do you have team members that are bummed out and burned out? Is communicating with families and residents driving you crazy? We can help you keep your residents and family members and team members safe. So whether you're a vendor or a solution provider, got to use the right term, or an operator, here are some things that you should do when that episode airs. The first thing you need to do is to share it on all your social media channels, but that's not good enough. You also need to ask team members and friends to also like it, to share it, and to comment. This will really amplify the reach. If you're an operator specifically, you should be sharing your podcast episodes with residents, prospects, and team members. It will do a lot to elevate your leadership authority, your voice, as people look at you. Then post it on your website. And also don't think of sharing as being a one-time thing. Share it again in a few weeks, maybe even a few months. You might cut out segments of it to share. And then the last thing I want to talk about is that if you are on a podcast and you really want to make that experience work for you, offer some sort of free gift or free resource. And the single best way to do that is give people a number that they can text to, and you can start a dialogue that way. So whether you're an operator or a solution provider, If you're looking to expand your reach via podcasting, we'd actually love to have a chat with you about it. But if you don't talk to us, talk to somebody, talk to some podcast people, talk to several of them. You can never get too much exposure. Thanks for watching.